I am joined by Professor Peter Katjavivi, the Speaker of the National Assembly and a veteran of the liberation struggle. Professor Katjavivi will, of course, also represent the chief mourner, President Angola Mbumba, today. Professor Katjavivi, we've heard moving tributes from you at the Nujoma household last week, but I want to speak to you as a career diplomat. Of course, Nujoma was the last founding president of the Organization of African Union left that was still alive and so on. What does his death and this vacuum mean for Africa and the loss of that era of heroes?
Well, they normally say when a big tree has fallen, it did basically leave a big vacuum. He's almost like someone of his generation who was a father figure, not only to the rest of us in Namibia, but he was a statesman, a leader of the liberation struggle, a founding president of the Republic of Namibia, who had set up and strengthened ties with the rest of the world. His departure leave or create a big vacuum. Definitely, there's no doubt about that. Some people refer to it's like a library, that serve a community. And if that library has been removed or done away with, it creates a vast vacuum. So his absence will be felt deeply. We are going to miss him a great deal. For us, people of my generation and people who followed some of us, he was very important. We worked together at different levels during the difficult period in the history of our liberation struggle. I served under him as our president when he assumed responsibility for an independent Namibia. I moved from parliament to set up a national university, the University of Namibia. During that period, I worked very closely with him to ensure that the university was there to empower the people in Namibia, and particularly the young people, young men and women, so that they can take over key proposition within our Namibian society. He also assigned me as an ambassador when I left UNAM. I was assigned as ambassador to European Union, to the Kingdom of Belgium, and later on, of course, I continued from there to serve as an ambassador to Germany. So I've done so many things. I can recount for you, but not on this occasion. And I'm looking forward to receiving his remains here on behalf of the President of Namibia, my dear brother, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba. So we are all looking forward here. We are getting ready to do uh, the best we can to pay tribute to him, to bid farewell for him, and on behalf of the Oshoganjipa region.
Um, Professor, I just want you to shortly reflect for us on Nyoma, the Pan Africanist internationalist. We've heard so many speakers speak about the fact that Nyoma shouted free Palestine before it was fashionable to do so, developed a relationship with the people of Western Sahara before it was fashionable to raise awareness about the plight of those people. What does the name Nyoma mean for Pan Africanism and global peace and that voice of reason for international peace?
He and his colleagues worked very hard. Pan African movement was the shining example of what solidarity is all about. We had a number of people who were displaced during the period of slavery, some of them finding themselves in the Caribbean, in the United States of America, and elsewhere. And there was a period in our history that people started to find each other, to mobilize, to make sure that we create a network, and which has become part of the global South, working together for the good of Black people around the globe in order to revive and strengthen the Pan-Africanism to fight for the liberation of the African continent. So that is what went on. So he was part of that great movement of people who wanted to restore dignity to Black people all over the world. And that was very important. So the Organization of African Unity was born out of that particular spirit, the spirit of self-determination to honor Black people all over the world where they might find themselves. And that was what Nujoma became part of. So he will be remembered, he will be missed by many people, not only on the African continent, but around the world.
Lastly, Professor, I don't want to keep you too long. We know that this base is named after Dimo Hamambo, former commander in plan, and also the first hero to be buried at Heroes Acre, where Nyoma will be buried this weekend. Take us through the symbolism of him arriving at this base that's named after his friend and comrade Dimo Hamambo.
I think it has got a great deal of meaning in the sense that um, it is we are moving towards a generation of the freedom fighters of the time who are leaving us one by one. Dimu Amambo, of course, was a commander of plan, uh, working closely under the leadership of Comrade Sam Nujoma, receiving orders from the president of the party and the commander in chief. So there is a very strong sense of symbolism there that we honor our people as they go, and but we remember the fact that all of them contributed greatly to finding ways and means of liberating this country. And then of course the president, the founding president, will be sent to his resting place, uh, along with so many other freedom fighters, people who have been part of the liberation struggle, people to whom he provided the kind of leadership that provided the basis for freeing an independent Namibia. So we are basically following in the footsteps. What is normally done is a kind of a tradition where we honor those who passed on, but we remember their contribution. Their legacy will remain with us. In spirit, we'll continue to recall them, to talk about them, because they were part and parcel of a big movement that was joined by the younger people who came along, who are today have taken their places as leaders of this great country of ours.
That was Professor Peter Katjavivi, Speaker of the National Assembly and veteran of the liberation struggle himself, reflecting on Sam Nujoma, the Pan-Africanist, the globalist, and a man who believed in the liberation of Black people everywhere and the freedom of oppressed people around the world. I'm Gordon Joseph. We continue our coverage of the procession and memorial service here at Grootfontein on all NBC platforms.